Hi, I'm Rachel, and I was in a group with Julia Morris and Emily Speake, and this is our presentation on experiencing Wilmington. So first we have historical Wilmington, and in the pre-20th century, it was a center of trade, politics, and culture for the region. The port city prospered because of its proximity to the Cape Fear River. Manufactured goods were imported, and inland settlers transported produce down the river. During the American Revolution, British forces occupied Wilmington from January 1781 and evacuated the town the following October. And Wilmington grew slowly until the Wilmington and Weldon Railroad in 1840 opened the North Carolina backwoods to the Wilmington marketplace, producing a flurry of trading activities. By 1850, Wilmington was the largest city in North Carolina. During the next 10 years, some of the city's most impressive structures were built, including the Tylen Hall, Latimer House, and the Bellamy Mansion. So Wilmington actually had a dark past that the state kind of tried to cover up, and it's getting talked about more recently. And Wilmington was one of the first cities to show Black prosperity with Black doctors, teachers, and even elected officials. North Carolina even sent 4 African Americans to Congress. North Carolina was on track to show how African Americans could overcome their past, but this event changed that and pushed North Carolina back into deep white supremacy. The Wilmington Massacre was the only coup d'etat to happen on American soil. White officials wanted to take back their state by pushing white anger and resentment using media showing racist imagery. Alfred Moore Waddell, a white official, said, "Negro office holding ought at once to forever be brought to an end, even if we have to choke out the current of the Cape Fear with carcasses." Whites in Wilmington created a white Declaration of Independence, then hundreds showed up, setting fire to the Black-owned printing press and forced the Black officials out of office with guns. Waddell eventually became the new mayor. Estimated was 40 to 60 were murdered, but the number may be much higher, and thousands became refugees fleeing their homes. This history can explain why a previously majority Black city is now 72% white and 18% Black today.
So I went to Southport, which is a small town located in Brunswick County. It's about 45 to 50 minutes away from campus with traffic, of course. It's a little history about Southport is that the French and Spanish explorers came here around 1524 and 1526, and then in the mid 1600s is when the English came in and settled along the river. The original name of Southport was actually Smithville after a general during the Revolution, but then it changed to Southport in 1887, which I think sounds a lot better than Smithville. So I went there with a group of friends, and we were going to take the ferry over, but we missed it. So that's on my bucket list, but you can take a ferry from Fort Fisher over to Southport, and it's not like a long ride at all. So this picture up here is I'm standing on a pier. A lot of the piers are actually torn down now because of the hurricane that last hit, but this one remains standing. There's a cargo ship back there. There's also like small, I don't know if you can see it, but there's small islands on the right side of the picture. Okay, so we walked around. There's a strip, I guess you could consider it downtown Southport, although Southport's not very large, but downtown. And so there's a bunch of shops and antique shops, which are really cool, and places to eat and get coffee and just small little things you would see in like an old town. So the picture on the bottom left is a picture of the Christmas house. So it's 2 stories. You walk in and you're literally surrounded by holidays. They had, when we went, it was in October, and they had Halloween stuff still in there. Christmas house with Halloween, but they have a bunch of decorations, gifts, wrapping paper. Literally all you can think of is inside the Christmas house. And they also have a candy store, which is like in the back of the house with so much candy that like there's stuff there that I didn't even know existed. So it's really fun if you go in. If you like holidays, then like you'll love it. I wouldn't recommend taking your parents in there because I feel like they'd spend maybe forever. I know my mom would. The picture above that is of a cannon named Thor after the superhero. So he not he, but the cannon is a replica of the 1841 cannon. And so you can actually like rent it to have at public or private settings. And one of my friend's moms was telling me that people just like rent it for a birthday party and fire it, which I think is a little weird to fire a cannon at your party. But I guess it's cool that like you can use this replica instead of it just sitting there for like show. And there's a bulletin board beside it that tells you all about it. The other picture is a picture of me and my roommate in an antique shop. And as you can see, there's just so much stuff. Like, it's everywhere. It crowds the whole place. The only place is the walkway, and that's what you walk on. But they have a bunch of candles, plates, random cups, paintings. There's also like comic books, which I thought was really fun to look at, and records. And I think it's really cool just to go and look in antique shops. But if you have somebody who is prone to breaking glass, then I would not recommend going into there, because we had to leave because one of our friends kept bumping into things and I was scared we were going to have to pay for all the things he was about to break. There's also a bunch of art stores and galleries that you can go into. The next part, which I thought was really fun, and if you're like a movie nerd like I am, then you'll enjoy Southport because a bunch of movies were shot there. And if you're a big Nicholas Sparks fan, then you'll love it because Safe Haven was shot here, the whole movie, and then A Walk to Remember was shot here, like bits and parts of it. And there was also a television show called Under the Dome that was filmed here, but I've never seen that. But if you have, then maybe you could recognize some of the landmarks. So food, all the food's great, can't complain. I've been to Provision Company, and it's like located on a dock, so you can sit out. Well, all seating is outside, and it's actually really cool because you used to like walk through the little shack and just like not scream, but yell at the chef and tell them what you want, and then you pick up your drink, and then like you just go sit down. You can look out on the water, and you can actually see Oak Island's lighthouse from Southport. So when you're sitting out there, you can see that, and you can look at all the boats that are sitting there too. So it's really nice. I recommend the grilled tuna fish sandwich. I haven't had anything else, but that one's really good. The next place is Fishy Fishy Cafe. I haven't been there personally, but the reviews have all been great. And it's also just really aesthetically pleasing because it's blue and there's yellow signs everywhere, like pointing like Oak Island's that way or Paris is that way, just like random signs. So it's cute for pictures. A couple more restaurants that weren't listed is Joseph's Italian Restaurant, which is, it's located in Southport, but not on this little strip of land. It's like further inland, and it's so good. It's some of the best Italian food I've ever had because it's fresh seafood in it, of course. And you can sit outside too there if you want. You can also sit inside, but outside's really pretty because there's a bunch of yachts surrounding the place, so you can just look at all of those while you're eating, and the sunset is always gorgeous. The waiters are really nice. I went on Halloween and they were all dressed up in costumes, which I thought was really cute. And they fill up really fast, so if you want to eat there, you have to get there as soon as the door opens, or else you'll be waiting for a very long time. So
All right, so now we have Wrightsville Beach, and Wrightsville Beach is known for its beautiful blue waters, active island lifestyle, and spacious beaches. The beach town is the perfect place to indulge in all kinds of resort amenities. There are also waterfront restaurants that serve fresh seat-to-table and farm-to-table food. So Wrightsville has the Museum of History, which you can walk through, and it really kind of takes you back in time to what Wrightsville was like pre-Civil War. There's a bunch of surf shops and boutiques up and down the island. What I have pictured here is Wings, which is kind of right in the middle of Wrightsville. There's a little kind of circle area behind it with restaurants and a really cool ice cream place. And then of course we have the beach at Wrightsville. Wrightsville's an island. It's gonna have a beach with really nice waters. The waves are also really nice. And the sand is just nice to lay out. It's a pretty wide beach, so there's a lot of room to kind of expand. And then of course the surfing scene of Wrightsville. Wrightsville has always been known for its surfing. National Geographic actually named Wrightsville in the top 20 for best surf towns in the whole world in 2014, which is pretty cool. So yeah, the surf scene is really big in Wrightsville. And then of course we have some really nice restaurants. We have the South Beach Grill, which is kind of right around that Wings Central area. It's typical seafood and American food. So it's kind of, you can sit outside and look out to like your right and see the sound and stuff, which is really neat. And yeah, just really good food. And then we have the bridge tender, which is actually right on the drawbridge or right before the drawbridge to get onto the island. It's like on the docks down there, so it's right on the water, which is really awesome. And it's typical like steakhouse style seafood kind of restaurant. Then there's Oceanic, which is right on the beach. It has a little pier that kind of comes off the back of it where you can walk out over the water. And again, it's like typical seafood. It is on the pricier side, but the food is really good. Then we have the resorts, like Wrightsville being a beach town and the island's gonna have a lot of resorts. So it's got the Blockade Runner, which is right on the beach. It's the most expensive one on this list, but it's a really nice resort. I have stayed there before. And then we have the Silver Gull Motel, which is again right on the beach. A little bit on the cheaper side. It's kind of more affordable one. It's got a pool and everything like that. And then we have the Shell Island Resort, which is another one that I have stayed at. It has like balconies all facing the ocean. It's right on the beach again. And there's a pool and stuff, and I've stayed there before, and it is really nice. Then the Sand Peddler Inn, again, another one I haven't stayed at, but it's got a pool, it's got some balconies looking out over the water, which is all really nice. And then we have the restaurant guide for Wilmington. So I started off with, for the college student, we're college students, we can't really afford all that much, so the cheaper restaurants are going to be the best. So starting off, we have Islands right over here. It's got 4 stars out of 5, $1 sign, and it's located right there. So Islands is kind of Tex-Mex style food. After 5 p.m., they have dollar tacos, so you can get 3 tacos for $1 with like a drink and stuff like that, which is a really good deal. The food is really good. A lot of the people, when I got to college, told me about it. So, raving reviews from college students. And then we have Casey's Buffet Barbecue over here, which has 4.5 stars. I know my video is covering it. It's got 4.5 stars and a little dollar. So it's pretty cheap. It's located here. It's a family-run, family-owned business. They have soul food and barbecue, and it's got this really kind of homey feel about it. It's a really nice place, and there's raving reviews from locals and tourists, all of the above, so the food there is really good. And then we have the Slice of Life, which is a pizzeria, 4 stars out of 5, $1 sign, and located here. So the Slice of Life is, again, just your typical kind of pizza place. It is a pub as well, but for people who are able to drink. And yeah, just really good pizza, really nice environment. It is like downtown, but it's just a really nice place. And then we have some mid-range dining. So we have Fish Bites here, which is a fish market and a seafood restaurant. 4.5 stars out of 5 and $2 signs. It is a little bit pricier, but not like crazy expensive. And it's located right here. So these are the places you want to take, like when you want to take a date out or something like that. Yeah, Fish Bites is like a market and a seafood restaurant. They have like lobster and all kinds of really cool stuff. And again, really good reviews about the food here. We have the Basics over here, which has 4.5 stars out of 5, $2 signs, and it's located here. It is downtown, so kind of right in the middle of everything. But yeah, it just has like your typical burgers, that kind of food. like sliders, whatever you'd find at a typical American restaurant. It has really good food, and again, right in the middle of downtown. And then we have Savora's right here, which is also in downtown. This one has 5 stars out of 5 and $2 signs. This one's actually a new restaurant that's just been built in downtown. It's like Latin American food, which is something that isn't typical to see. Is Latin American food. So Savora's has some really good food, really high, like great reviews from it just being open. And yeah, so these are all the restaurants that I've put in the restaurant guide.
So here's some of the options for art, which includes museums showing different time periods and how life was lived in Wilmington before today, and some modern art galleries showing off local artists, and some music venues such as performance halls for musicals, plays, and operas, or live music bars. The ones I wanted to focus on were which were the most interesting to me is the Art and Bloom Gallery, which describes itself as an eclectic mix of original paintings, ceramics, sculptures, blown glass, stained glass mosaics, photography, mobiles, jewelry, limited edition prints, and mixed media by established and emerging artists. And the Orange Street Art Fest in downtown Wilmington, which hosts around 80 artists from North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia, and has live entertainment. The Bellamy Mansion Museum has tours showing pre-war living and architecture, but it's also the site of a live jazz concert every year. Hundreds gather on the beach to enjoy the North Carolina Jazz Festival, which holds world-class artists, and finally, the Wilson Center, which hosts Broadway shows, symphonies, and concerts.
Okay, so I like to take trips. It's one of my favorite things to do. So I have a couple weekend and day trips you could take. So, of course, to start is downtown Wilmington, which is the Wilmington River Walk. That's a picture of the bridge in the background. I usually just like get a coffee and then just walk downtown. I like to people watch, so I'll walk on the river walk and just look around. You can shop, there's art galleries, get some food. One of my favorite places to eat downtown is the George because they have the best fish and chips, so I recommend. Another place you can go and visit is Fort Fisher, which is you turn left out of campus and then just drive straight. It's not that far. It's really pretty though. So you get there and it's like this picture. There's a bunch of trees right here, and then there's trees just surrounding the field behind you. The sunset always looks good. And then on the other, it's like not like a park, but like a park on this side, and then on the other side is a beach, and you can drive your car out on the beach. I have not done that, but there's like a bunch of Jeeps who do that, and I drive a Jeep, so I feel like I should do it just to say I've done it. But it's really nice. My friend's into film photography, and so if you go there, like if you're into that stuff and you go down there, the pictures always turn out really nice. The next destination is Kerr Beach, which is like basically the same beach as Fort Fisher. It's not far at all. You pass through Kerr before you get to Fort Fisher, and there's hardly ever anybody there whenever I'm there, so I don't know if it's just because like the time I go there, which is usually around like dinner time, but it's really nice. It's calm. I feel like Wrightsville isn't that calm, but Kerr Beach is it's very nice. So you can go there if you're just tired of Wrightsville or just want a different beach to try out. The next location is Oak Island. It's my favorite. I love Oak Island. My friend has a beach house down there, so it's nice to like spend a weekend in Oak Island and then come back to Wilmington. It's again not far at all, and it's actually right next to Southport, so if you go to Oak Island, you can just drive into Southport. But this is the lighthouse that you can see from Southport too. And Oak Island's not that busy, so you can like easily get on the beach and find a parking spot, where I know you can't do that in some beaches, but there's a bunch of old people there. Usually they're really friendly. Some good food places would be Old Bridge Diner for breakfast, and then they have a really good pizza place. I think it's Pepperoni Grill, and they have a really nice Publix. So public subs were really good. But Oak Island's a great place to just spend the weekend at. Some other places that aren't on here is Southport, which I talked about, and then Carolina Beach, which is about 30 minutes away from Wilmington if you want a new beach or a different scene.